Right. So first of all, Tish, is I have to make it clear that Bill C-47, and I'll explain, the
Yes.
problem with that in a second, but it's just one part of about an 8-part program called the Self-Care Framework. Because your audience might not know about the regulation of natural health products. So we're talking about the stuff you walk into your health food store. If you go to a natural health practitioner, like a naturopathic doctor or homeopathic doctor or traditional Chinese practitioner, these are the products we're talking about. No, so I was acting for Health Canada as their counsel against a
Oh,
herbalist that was suing them.
oh,
I knew nothing about the industry. So a herbalist named Jim Strauss was suing Health Canada because Health Canada had seized herbs at the border that he was importing from the United States, which were perfectly legal for him to import. So they basically stole his herbs. But
jeez.
they did that because he was selling remedies without Health Canada approval. You see, we have this philosophical problem in Canada. Our Food and Drug Act deems everything illegal. Anything for therapeutic purpose is illegal. So everything's illegal.
Oh,
And the only exception to that is that if you get Health Canada can grant you an exemption from this blanket, everything's illegal, and they do that in the form of a product license. Yeah, so the problem is this premise that everything should be illegal and you can only get market access if you prove to Health Canada safety and efficacy. That works for novel chemicals that have never been in our food supply, which are extremely dangerous.
mhm.
Like, chemical pharmaceutical drugs, taken as directed, are one of our leading causes of death. Like, there's an age group in Canada, a young age group, where actually your highest risk is being driven to the doctor's office, and it's not the car accident, it's actually going to the doctor, which
Oh,
like might, and yet we contrast that with natural health products. And you are, 14 times more likely to be struck by lightning than to be killed by a natural health product in Canada. But so we've got these drug regulations, and Health Canada in the late 90s, to try and stuff this, squash this industry, started driving companies and products off the market, to imposing the chemical drug regs. And so there was a citizen rebellion in 1997, 1998. The federal government was forced to back down, and the Standing Committee of Health was asked, you have broad consultations. They had the broadest consultations in Canadian history. So this is an all-party committee with expertise on health who are tasked with how should we regulate natural health products. They come out with 53 separate recommendations. You don't regulate these like drugs. Like, don't go anywhere near those models. And Canadians want increased access, and this is appropriate. Don't over-regulate them off the market. So you compare them with the chemical drug regulations and substitute natural health product with the word chemical drug, and you'll see the structure is exactly the same. But what just happened with the budget? So Bill C-47, and it's already passed, it's already law. So now we have to just get this repealed. But so it's a budget bill to implement the federal 2023 budget. And I mean, the things like it's a book, like budget bills are long, and you can
mhm.
bury things and hide things in them. So it's sections 500 to 504. They buried, well, let's make Vanessa's law apply to natural health products. Like,
Oh
they
no.
know, and this is where we got gamed, right? They know Canadians don't want this. They know
Mhm.
if they introduced a separate act, which is what they should have done, saying, let's do this, it would go to the Standing Committee of Health and just get stopped in its track, with Canadians going ballistic over this. So they totally gamed us. They snuck it in there. Nobody had time to respond. Budget bills passed quickly, and bang, now it's law. If you crossed Health Canada and violated even the most minor regulation or a section of the act, you used to be, prior to June 22nd, your maximum fine would be $5,000 per offense. Now it's $5 million per day of any violation. So another thing that Health Canada is doing that's part of this self-care framework that's just going to annihilate the industry, is they are imposing fees. So they're going to, because the goal with the self-care framework is we are going to move the regulation of natural health products and align it 100% with the chemical over-the-counter drug. So it's just, once again, we're going to regulate them as chemical drugs. even though every time anyone's had a really good look at this, it's like, no, 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 this is not what you do, and this is not what Canadians want. They want increased access. Yeah, we want to be protected against fraud and adulteration, and and we want good manufacturing practices. But we don't want you restricting our access and stepping in and destroying, products that are helping us. So anyway, this cost recovery, they're imposing drug style cost recovery. Now, it's going to drive small players out of business, and it's going to drive, a number of medium players out of business. And for others, it's going to reduce their product lines. We're going to lose products that way. But what's interesting about this is they're saying, well, we're going to use this new money to create a whole new enforcement arm. So don't worry, we're not going to waste the money. We're going to hire a whole bunch of Health Canada police to basically ensure that this increased regulatory burden that we're imposing is complied with, and they're going to go out in the marketplace and make sure that nobody is sharing truthful health information. When you get a license, they'll grant you it's called a structure function claim. So it might say something, let's use eMpower Plus as an example. That's probably the best treatment in the world for bipolar disorder. But it's sold as a vitamin and mineral supplement just for people to stay healthy. And it says supports mental health and well-being. Well, there are 35 peer-reviewed scientific, papers of research, like case studies and case series and clinical trials, all funded by governments, not just Canadian governments, but governments from countries around the world, on this product, published in peer-reviewed journals and blue chip ones like the Journal of Psychiatry and the Journal of Child and Adolescent Psychopharmacology. Like, we're talking quality research in quality journals funded by governments and universities. And Health Canada would take the position, well, True Hope, you can't share these with the public. You can't let the public know that this research exists, because that would suggest your advertising beyond supports mental health and well-being. Well, these $5 million a day penalties came into force on June 22nd. Prior to that, True Hope had published on their website, their Canadian website, those journal articles. So you could access them from their website, because, yeah, we can get fined $5,000 an offense, but we can withstand that. And so we'll take that risk and present this government-funded peer-reviewed research to the public. But they've taken them down now because they can't withstand $5 million a day fines. So do you see this Bill C-47, these powers and penalties? Health Canada snuck them in now because they're phasing in the self-care framework, and because they're creating this new enforcement arm. They need that enforcement arm. These are not penalties. This is pure destruction. We're going to lose anything effective. We're going to lose the things that are natural health practitioners, like naturopathic doctors and TCM doctors. Like, it's going to be a bloodbath, and it's the purpose. So you're going to lose your health food stores because they're not going to be able to compete with the drugstores. But in the drugstore shelves, you'll have a whole bunch of multivitamins and, your vitamin D and C and stuff like that. But with the label showing, such low amounts that it won't be meaningful if you follow the instructions. But, your multi-ingredient products and stuff like that, with herbs and that can be really, that's going to, and if I have time, I'll go into that more, but it's so important to explain. This is an opportunity for us to get Parliament back. We're past the point where you can just sit and expect other people to do things. And if you wait till the bread runs out on this one, it's already too late. So there's already going to be a cost to most of us for doing this. And if the cost right now for you is just your time and your convenience and some money, like, going to Staples and printing off, the discussion paper to mail to 338 MPs, well, bear the cost. Like, we have to get this done. If the cost is you every week going out and dropping off flyers in people's mailboxes to get them, well, so be it. That's the cost. So, right now, it's not that bad, but you have to be bearing the cost now. You have to take personal responsibility for the state of our country right now, and for the fact that our institutions aren't working for us. Well, they're not working for us because you haven't demanded that they work for us. They're not going to work
Yes.
for you and your family unless you're demanding it.
Okay.
So the reality is that power will always take as much freedom as you allow them to take, and it's only when you say no that that process ends.